The Cowboys OT is brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
The Dallas Cowboys are champions of the NFC East. 38-10, the final score from FedEx Field in Landover, Maryland, as the Cowboys take care of business in all three phases and take down the Washington Commanders in Week 18, thus securing their first NFC East division title since 2021. Welcome into Cowboys OT, everybody. Alongside Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Youmans, as we not only break down the Cowboys' win against the Washington Commanders, their division championship for the first time in a couple of seasons, and we'll break down the incoming matchup with the Green Bay Packers in the wild card round at AT&T Stadium. But first, we got to talk about how they got to this point. The Dallas Cowboys win it 38-10. Your thoughts on the victory?
Well, I think how they did exactly, what good teams are supposed to do. They go up to D.C. and they get the job done. They lock up the number 2 seed. To me, this game wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but you loved what you saw from the second half adjustments, not only from the coaching staff, but these players as well. When you look at it defensively, they were able to get 2 of their 3 takeaways in the second half. What led to that was pressure from this defensive line on Sam Howell. He already had 61 sacks during the season. They added an extra 4 in this game, and he turned the ball over 2 times out there. Defense was great when you talk about that in regards. And then offensively, Dak Prescott went out there in the second half and threw 3 of his 4 touchdowns. It was an ugly pick early on in the game, little tip pass, interception for them. He didn't let that waver him. He went out there in the second half and got the job done. And that's exactly what this team has been doing all year long. No matter what goes on, no matter what the situation is, Mike McCarthy has his players ready to go. They could have went in there sleepwalking in this game, ended up getting upset by Washington, but they weren't. They made those second half adjustments, and here we are, number 2 seed, getting ready to take on the Packers.
131 yards rushing, can't ask for more, and give up a 50 yards rushing, 2.9. The Cowboys went out and did what they're supposed to. They played well, 34 minutes of time possession. I like 2 penalties for 20 yards. It's been a long time since the Cowboys did that. They hit some things that they needed to hit. The turnover wasn't good. The block field goal wasn't good. But you know what? We hit in some key areas. Now we're ready to take on the Green Bay Packers.
Well, these guys already hit on it. I mean, statistically, they took care of business. Obviously, they only had 1 turnover. They gave up 180 yards defensively, so they shut that down. They got back to Sam Howell 4 times. They shut him down. And then offensively, you threw the ball for 300 yards, and you ran the ball for 130-plus yards. That's what you need to do. All these boxes that needed to get checked got checked. You just wanted to win that ball game and try to come out as healthy as you can. And I think overall they did a pretty good job.
No doubt about that. They had a chance to wrap up their 25th division title in franchise history. Let's take a look at how they did just that. On the road in Washington, it's never easy winning in Washington, no matter how good or bad the Commanders are. After a defensive turnover on downs, Dallas in the red zone, Dak finds Jalen Tolbert to start the scoring. Dallas up 7-0. Next drive for Washington, Brian Robinson gets coughed up. Jordan Lewis comes in. He's had a great couple of weeks. He forces the fumble and secures the recovery.
Yeah, you like to see from Jordan Lewis right here, one of the best run defenders, goes in there, rakes it out, and then has the awareness, the ball awareness to pick the ball up while it's on the ground. Great play from Jordan Lewis. Cowboys get the rock.
Dallas has a chance to go up by 2 scores. Field goal unit out, but not for long. Brandon Aubrey, who was 35 of 35 this season, has it blocked off the edge. This goes deep into Dallas territory. Washington stays alive. The special teams mishap here, Nate, it just didn't work out on the left side of the line of scrimmage.
I jinxed it. I believed in it. That's on me, Brandon. That's on me, Brandon Aubrey. Don't worry about it. We'll get it next time.
But that's not really his fault, right? I mean, he wasn't the one blocking.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. It does count as a miss, 35 of 36, and it turns into a touchdown the other way for Washington. Brian Robinson Jr. makes up for the fumble. He bobbles but has the touchdown reception. Then the next offensive drive for Dallas, Dak Prescott has his pass tipped. It's intercepted. Washington would turn that into a field goal and a 10-7 lead. However, Dallas answers with a 7-play, 71-yard drive. Tony Pollard punches it in. Dallas takes a 14-10 lead. Back on defense, 3rd down and 10. The pressure comes from DeMarcus Lawrence. He forces a wobbly pass, and it's intercepted by Donovan Wilson. Isaiah, this is what Dallas needed.
That's absolutely what they needed. We've been talking about D-Law's impact. There he is again, Johnny on the spot, and then here he is, the benefactor, Donovan Wilson.
Left plenty of time on the clock, too, for the Dallas offense. Rico Dowdle gets loose down the left sideline, 32 yards 4 plays after this one took them deep into Washington territory. Dallas inside the 5. Dak finds CeeDee, who then reaches for the goal line. He's in, and Dallas would lead 21-10 at the break. They got the ball first to start the third quarter. What did they do? How about Dak to CeeDee again, this time in the back of the end zone. Dak directing traffic, throws a strike to his favorite target. 14th touchdown of the year for CeeDee Lamb. Isaiah, how special of a season has this been for 88?
It's been unfair. I mean, every year this dude has stepped it up, and there is no different there, finishing the game with a couple touchdowns.
Speaking of a special season, Micah Parsons with his 14th sack, a new career high for him. This forces 4th down for Washington. Next play, Peyton Hendershot gets through. He blocks the Washington punt, and Dallas recovers and takes him down all the way inside the 10-yard line. A couple plays later, setting up Brandon Cooks on 3rd down and goal. Dak lofts it up. There's Brandon in the back of the end zone, and the Archer has a score to put Dallas up 35-10. Next chance for Washington late in the third quarter. Howell pressured again. There's DeRon Bland. He has an interception, his 9th of the season to lead the NFL. Dallas would tack on a late field goal, but that would do it for the Dallas Cowboys. 38-10 the final in Week 18. They take care of business, wrapping up not only the NFC East title, but the number 2 seed in the NFC playoff picture as well. They will face the Green Bay Packers in the wild card round. When we come back, we're going to talk to Brandon Cooks. We talked about his impact on this offense in the second half of the season. He had another red zone grab as well for a score. The Archer joins Cowboys OT when we come back.
This segment is brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back into Cowboys OT after the Cowboys wrap up not only the NFC division title or the NFC East division title, but the number 2 seed in the NFC playoffs. Back here on Cowboys OT, where we now get a chance to catch up with Cowboys wide receiver Brandon Cooks. Brandon, first I got to ask, how good does it feel to be back in the postseason?
Man, it's truly a blessing. You know, it's been a while, but it's definitely special, you know, especially with this group of guys and the work that we put in. Definitely thankful to be back in the postseason.
You guys take care of business, put up 38 points on the board against Washington. Yeah. What went right for you guys today? Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, you know, guys had the mindset to come in here to take care of business, not play around. We knew what the opportunity was at hand. We came in, we took advantage of it. That's what it was all about.
Take me through the touchdown grab. Got that opening, got some separation, and then made the grab in the back of the end zone.
Trust. At the end of the day, that's all trust. You know, Dak trusted me, putting the ball out there for me to make a play, and me coming down with it and everybody else doing their job. That's what it was all about.
First season with the Cowboys, how does that trust grow as the season goes on? I mean, from week 1 to now, how far has it gone?
Yeah. I mean, I think it's gone, you know, a long way. But I think at the end of the day, there's more to continue to build upon. And the way that you do that is through our practice and game days.
What's the goal now? You guys got step 1 out of the way. What are you doing going into this week to prepare for the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, no, you said it. I think just winning the next one, taking every day at a time, focusing in on little details, and showing up come Sunday or Saturday, whatever day it is, and handling business at home.
It seemed like a lot of the weapons got their hands on this one, the big win against Washington. I mean, who's been really one of those guys outside of you and CeeDee Lamb who have stepped up in a big way throughout the season?
I mean, I think guys are all stepping up all over, right? You talk about JT, MG, Ferg, our backs. I mean, I think at the end of the day, like you said, everyone has a hand in this, and they showing up every moment that we can, especially in this late season.
How much confidence do you guys have going into the wild card round?
Great confidence. And the reason why I can say that is because of the work that we put in.
That's awesome. Brandon, thank you so much for taking some time. Congratulations on the win, and we'll see you at the Star this week getting ready for the wild card round.
Let's do it.
There he is. Brandon Cooks had a big touchdown grab and a phenomenal interview at the end of this one. More Cowboys OT returning in a moment. When we come back, we hear from the division champion head coach. Mike McCarthy takes to the podium right after this.
This segment was brought to you by Ashley, the official furniture store of the Dallas Cowboys.
Welcome back into Cowboys OT. The celebration continues inside the Cowboys locker room at FedEx Field. That's a wide receiver group right there. CeeDee Lamb, Michael Gallup, Brandon Cooks, Coach Prince, Devontae Turpin, Jalen Tolbert, Jalen Brooks, all having some fun. It's locked, right? It's a lock. That's what the shirts say for the NFC East champions. Mike McCarthy pretty happy with the way his team performed on the road in Week 18. Here's what he had to say at the podium.
Definitely. I mean, that's the way we wanted it. And I think you just, we understand all the narratives around the game, but, frankly, it's still a division game. And that's really was our approach. And, we knew that they were going to throw some things at us. And, you look at the way the game started and, a lot of deceptives and things like that. So, yeah, I mean, when you play division games, it's always a dogfight. So that was our mindset coming in here.
My talk with you has been, how quickly did you find out it was Green Bay?
Tad just told me he walked in here. So.
What are your initial thoughts on having?
Oh shoot! I mean, I've had a good year. I haven't watched them a whole lot, but yeah, the drama of it, I'm sure you guys will love. I will not participate this year, but no, it's playoff time. It doesn't matter who we play. To be honest with you.
Yeah.
Tim Cowshaw, Dallas Great News. How do you feel about the way Dak finished the season, the offense finished the season compared to last year going into the playoffs?
Yeah, I mean, obviously last year was not very good for us here. Just reflecting back, but it's two different teams, two different situations. But yeah, we feel good. We wanted to get the run game established, and I think clearly, I was really proud of our young guys. Both Brock and TJ, and particularly Brock, just because we didn't know. I mean, Zach, I didn't know about his illness until he arrived here at the stadium. So that was clearly a last-minute move. The way that went down, I mean, it was probably about 20 minutes before the 90-minute meeting that it was determined that Zach was not going to be able to play. So and it didn't. We stayed right on course with the call sheet. We didn't change. We didn't. Shy away from anything, and those guys gave us the chance. And just like anything offensively, you want to stay in a healthy run-pass mix, and because that's when that's when we're at our best. And and our offensive line gave us that opportunity. Obviously, our skill guys played well. Dak played well. I thought Tony and Rico ran the ball the way he looked for. And even on the flip side of it too, Brandon had to we had to block, and then also the miss, and then it was important to give him one more kick here at the end. Because it's the regular season's over, but we feel good about the amount of work and everything we put into it, and we're ready to go for the playoffs.
Michael Gelfin, Dallas News. You mentioned a little bit the way that the game started. You guys had the block pick, you had the tip pass interception, two things that hadn't happened all season. What do you think it said about your team, kind of the way that they weathered that and took the game back into control?
It's football. You talk so much about the beginning of the game and the end of the game. We spend a lot of time on particularly Fridays getting ahead of it as far as making sure we're there. But really the second and third quarter is really what you're all about. And that was a part of the message all week and last night because, you do these comparables of productivity, and it's important for us to play to our standards of productivity, and you establish it over an 18-week season. And we know who we are. We talk about complementary football, but we play to it, and that's going to be what's going to help us, win these playoff games. So to your point, to me, it's football. Those are first quarter and really second quarter. So. I don't think anybody blinked. I mean, it was a tee, stunt, and they locked us down on the penetrator, and the looper got free and got his hand on the ball. So, those guys make plays too.
It's Stefon Gilmore. Any update on his outlook?
I just saw Gilly before I walked in there, and it's a new experience for him, just as far as what he's dealing with, and he told me he was going to be fine, be ready to go. So we'll see how he is tomorrow.
So there is a bit of an update there from Mike McCarthy about Stefon Gilmore and what he has moving forward. We'll hear from Stefon Gilmore himself in our next segment. But first, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback. I want to hear just how much credit Mike McCarthy needs for not only leading 3 straight 12-5 seasons after really a 2020 season that you threw out of the window with your quarterback going down, but this team seemingly has done everything right to take that next step. They've taken a step in 21. They took another one in 22. Can they do that again here in 2023?
I think they can because coaches put them in, help them get in a position now where they possibly have 2 home games. And when you can do that right there, your momentum is great. These guys are undefeated at home. Now all we got to do is just keep these guys in line and focus, and they should be okay. Coach McCarthy has done a great job this year.
Yeah, I agree with you, Nate. I think Coach McCarthy's done a great job of just leading these men, leading this coaching staff. You've seen the maturity of this team. You've seen them start to cut back on penalties as the year has gone on. The mistakes that they were having early on, they've cut back. The turnovers that they were having last year, they cut back. They're just a lot more efficient team, and I think they're a more balanced now than they ever have been, and that's a testament to coaching and his leadership.
It is crazy to think. I mean, they went to the wild card round in 21, divisional round last year. If they were to take a next step, it's an NFC championship, and that would either be at San Francisco or at home. There's no other possibility for the NFC championship game since the Cowboys are the 2 seed. It's either at San Francisco, or if the Cowboys are in it, they will be at home at AT&T Stadium. In a season like this, where home field advantage has been so imperative for this team, how big is it to wrap up that number 2 seed and head into the playoffs with some momentum?
I mean, it's huge. I mean, I've been there. And what it does as a player, man, to know that everything has got to go through you. Now, yeah, we got the Boombox boys in California, but to know that the first 2 games, everything comes through you, people are going to be looking at you. You're the hunted. That's a great feeling. I've been there before. That's a great feeling. You coming into our house, and we will be able to eat.
Y'all just heard it from the man himself. He knows better than anybody. Being at home is a big difference. And obviously there's been a big talking point this year in regards to the execution of Dallas on the road versus at home. The record stands for itself, 8-0 this season at home and 15-0 over the last 2 seasons. These guys have taken care of business. And this is where you want to be. You feel more confident with somebody coming to your crib than you going to their crib. It's no different than if I was to call Kyle and say, hey, come over to my house. I'm going to feel more comfortable because I know where everything's at. All the amenities, all the food, everything's in the fridge. If I go to Kyle's house, I don't know what's in the fridge. So that's what it is right now. You want to make sure that you take care of business, and they are in a perfect position to do so.
Take a little exception to that. I feel like you would just be fine at our house if the invitation was out there. We will be out there at AT&T Stadium next week, but when we come back, step 1 was win the game. Step 2 was get out of it healthy. We get an update from Stefon Gilmore and his shoulder injury he sustained in the second half. We'll check in with Gilmore when we come back. Everything in the second half for the Dallas Cowboys seemingly went in their direction except for one thing. Stefon Gilmore left the game with an injury. Mike McCarthy has already hit on it. He thinks Stefon Gilmore, so he says he is fine. Let's hear it from Stefon Gilmore himself.
Everybody wanted to know about the shoulder. Can you give us an update first on what you're dealing with? And there was a scary moment there on the field.
Yeah, it just popped out of place, and they popped it back. I feel way better now, so happy it wasn't nothing too crazy.
Sounds less than pleasant,
Yeah.
But what are you looking at going forward? Because here comes the postseason next year.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is why you play the game, for the playoffs and to get to the bowl. So I'm excited for the opportunity we have. We're going to be at home, so it's going to be exciting.
You say this is why you play the game. This is why they brought you here, for your experience in the postseason.
Yeah.
What can you tell the other guys about what it takes to be dominant in the playoffs like you have been in the past?
Just do what we know we can do. Just play the ball we know we can play and depend on each other and take advantage of the opportunity because it's so hard to get here. And I think we got the guys to do it. We just got to take it one game at a time.
Congratulations, Stefon.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Again about what happened with the injury. You said it popped out of place.
Yeah, it just popped out and they popped it back in place. So I feel way better now. So I'm just excited for this week.
Have you ever had to deal with that before?
Never. So
pretty painful.
At first, yeah, but it's way better now. So
not something that'll keep you out next week.
No.
How important was it to get this home game, potentially 2 home games in the playoffs, rather than just making them?
It's very important. Playing in front of our fans at home, sleeping in your same bed. Just being used to everything. That's a big advantage. But at the end of the day, we got to go out there and execute. So I don't know who we play yet, but it's going to be a big challenge. It's playoff football.
Stefon, I apologize. We were a little getting over here. What did happen to you? And it sounded like you said you're going to be okay.
Yeah, I'd be good. Just a little shoulder, and I'll be good. I feel better now.
Stinger? Or?
They just popped it back in place, so I'll be good.
Dislocated.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So there's the update from Stefon Gilmore. Luckily for us here at Cowboys OT, Isaiah Stanback has dealt with that injury not once, not twice, not 3 times, but how many times?
Oh, I've had it 3 times. I've had 3 surgeries to repair that 3 times. So, yeah.
So what is Stefon Gilmore going through here?
Yeah. It sucks. So his popped out. It looked like that. I didn't want to speculate, obviously, when I seen it on film, but we were sitting here watching it, and I was like, yep, that's what it looks like I had. He's able to play with it. That's really the moral of the story. He's experiencing some pain. Once it's back into the shoulder capsule, you're good. Now, obviously, he's going to need to get X-rays and need to get MRIs to find out exactly how much damage was done to the joint in the capsule to find out how stable it may or may not be able to be. But ultimately, he'll go through this week just trying to control the inflammation, most likely, try to do as much strengthening and stability work as possible to try to stabilize that part of his shoulder. And then most likely, you'll probably see him wearing some form of a sling or something that's going to help him keep that in position for next week's game. He'll be able to play. Will he be the same player that you guys have known for him to show up and be? Hopefully, but I would imagine that his range of motion is going to be severely limited, at least with that arm.
How imperative is Stefon Gilmore, Barry Church, to the importance of this entire secondary? Not just the corners, but the whole secondary.
Oh, it's extremely important. I mean, when you look at it, we've seen what this guy has been able to do when tasked with covering the number 1 wide receiver. We've seen the type of day DK Metcalf was having in Seattle before they threw Gilmore on him. The type of day A.J. Brown was having before they threw Gilmore on him. I mean, this is a guy that, to me, we all understand Bland has the interceptions, the returns for touchdown. When you talk about technician and you talk about guarding a man one-on-one, he's your best option out there. So for him to go out there, at least get on the football field would be a blessing. Hopefully his range of motion ain't as, constricted as we may believe it could be. But to me, he's of the utmost importance when you talk about a secondary and a guy being able to lock down one of the number 1 threats on the opposing team.
When you think about some of the wide receivers that Green Bay is going to have to bring to the table this week, you got Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, the second-round pick, a rookie. He had 100-plus yards today in a win against Green Bay. You're going to need him on the boundary.
Yeah, you're definitely going to need him on the boundary, but I want to ask Barry, because you've had a forearm injury or something like that in the past, right? So, when you do have one arm that's compromised, how does that affect you playing defensive back?
It affects you big time. At safety, not so much because I'm in the box doing a lot of hitting, but as a cornerback, you got to use your arms out there. You got to have that range of motion to be able to jam receivers at the line of scrimmage. And when you throw that jam out there, receivers aren't going to just let you jam them in the chest. They're coming down over to try to break that arm away from them so they can release. And that's got to put some pressure. That's got to put some pain on that shoulder. So it's going to be a fight for Gilmore to go out there and perform at the highest of his duties. Let's hope he can do so.
Well, and of course, teams look at this secondary and they see one Deron Bland, Pro Bowler, 9 interceptions on one side. Stefon Gilmore is going to be tested, and he has been tested throughout the year. He's done a great job of stepping up to the challenge when need be, but if he is not 100% healthy, that's something to keep an eye on going into the wild card round. But when we come back, we hear from Dak Prescott. Dak ends up with a phenomenal game, just 5 incompletions, 4 touchdowns. More Cowboys OT in a moment. Welcome back into Cowboys OT. The Cowboys take down the Washington Commanders 38-10. Dak Prescott finished with 4 passing touchdowns, now up to 36 on the campaign. And barring the greatest performance of any quarterback in the history of the NFL from either Josh Allen or Tua, he will end up as the first Cowboy to outright lead the NFL in passing touchdowns over the course of a single season. Here's what he had to say after clinching the division.
Yeah, I think I mentioned it weeks ago about running our own race and just focusing on that, controlling what we could control, and we're able to do that. Obviously, the latter part of the year had that stretch there where we didn't handle it the way we would have liked to handle it, losing a couple of road games back-to-back, but getting back home, winning that one, we knew it was important to come back on the road, finish the division, being a road game, understanding what we've been through on the road with importance, with the offense firing, playing complementary football, and in a big game to win the division, secure the 2 seed, and make sure that, as you said, we finish things in our hand, in our way, to our expectations and to our standards. And proud of the guys, proud of the locker room, coaching staff, everybody, organization of doing just that.
Dak, Todd Archer with ESPN. As you get ready for this, you've been to the playoffs now a couple of times. how much are you ready to take this next step and go further than you guys have gone?
Yeah, very ready. Obviously, coming off of the past years, understanding the team we have, knowing we're coming into the season, that we had a team that could compete, wanted to put ourselves in this position, wanted to stay in the moment each and every week and not look forward to this, but now it's upon us. And I think most importantly, we've got to take it one game at a time with the same attitude that we came into this game with, same attitude that we've taken in every home approach. And it's Green Bay lined up right now. And just everything focuses on that. We'll enjoy this plane ride home, and guarantee you tomorrow everybody turns the page, puts this regular season behind them, and understands that tomorrow's not promised in that sense, that we've got to make sure we give everything we can in each and every moment of our preparation, our practice, our walkthroughs, our film study, taking care of our bodies to make sure that we're going out there and we're putting, as I've mentioned before, best versions of ourselves come out there on whenever the day is we play.
Does this feel different than the other times you've gone with how you feel about the team going into the playoffs?
Yeah, for sure. Especially, obviously, look at last year, the way we came to this place and didn't finish the season the way we wanted to where we are now, the growth, the coaching staff, the players, the accountability, the communication, the transparency, and both sides of the ball holding their own, really. Not one side picking and holding and doing more, I guess you could say, than the other side. Really understanding that we have three great units. I mean, special teams went out there and made a huge play tonight. So 3 great units going into this thing. We're fit all the way around at this moment, at this time. Doesn't matter who we play, where we play them. We're excited for our opportunities. And as I said, it's about one at a time. And thankful we get to do it at AT&T next weekend.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. You talk about a lot of criticism you take. The head coach also takes it. How important has he been this year just to get you guys to this point?
Yeah, it's been huge. He's been huge. Obviously, stepping in, taking over the play calling, and really much more than that. I mean, just you can ask him his weekly schedule and the way that he's approached has been much different than it has in the past years. And just I talk about communication, accountability. It's been amazing. I can't thank him enough. He's been an amazing head coach as he's continuing to be, but to be a play caller and have this relationship with me and him even grow more, understanding that, we're probably 2 of the people that get criticized the most. And so being able to lean on each other has been important. And, excited for the future and excited for this game. Excited for him for this game as much as everybody else. And knowing what this game means for the Dallas Cowboys, it's got something a little special for him as well. And it's important for us to get it for our own being. But the way that we do it will be a punctuation for him.
So Dak Prescott and company already turning the page to face Green Bay in the wild card round. Here are the offensive stats from the 38-10 win over Washington in the regular season finale. Back here with Isaiah Stanback and Nate Newton, 2 great offensive minds breaking down Dak Prescott. Phenomenal campaign. How much of his true success of how this 2023 season will be remembered relies on what he does over these next couple weeks?
That's what it's all about, especially being a Dallas Cowboy quarterback. It's about what you win and what you do in the playoffs. And if he can win these next 2 games, it'll go a long ways to putting some flavor on his name.
Yeah, I mean, Dak, the reality is you can win all the regular season games you want to, but they're going to look at your tenure as a quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys and look at your record in the playoffs. And this team is not going to have any kind of satisfaction if they go out here and win and lose next week. Like, you will be sitting up here singing the same old song. That's not what that's not how this story needs to end. They need 4 games, starting with 1 game, but it's all about a 4-game stretch, and that's all you need. Play the best 4 games of your life, but it starts out with playing the best game of your life next weekend against Green Bay. You just heard him talk about some of the other motives and things that are going to be going on emotionally. Harness all that, get a good game plan, go out there and execute, and then hopefully plan on celebrating after, and then being able to acknowledge everything that game will mean for you.
Yeah, 1-3 all-time against the Green Bay Packers is Dak Prescott as the starting quarterback. The only time he defeated Green Bay was as a rookie in the regular season. They then bounced them from the playoffs in the wild card round later that year, and then in 2019 they also fell in the playoffs as well. So Not a ton of success for Dak since 2016 against Green Bay. A chance to really exercise some of those demons early on and try and turn things around and have some success. Speaking of success, Dak Prescott has done it on the offensive end. Micah Parsons has done it on the defensive side of the football. A career high 14 sacks. We hear from Parsons when we come back. Micah Parsons, 13 sacks as a rookie, 13 and a half in 2022, 14 in 2023. It's the motto of consistency off of that Dan Quinn defense. Here's what Micah had to say after wrapping up an NFC East division title.
Yeah, just being resilient. Just always focus on what's ahead, never looking in the past. And we kind of just, we just all committed and said we're just going to keep going no matter what happens, no matter what anybody else is doing, and today we're champions.
The first quarter was a little shaky for a little bit of the game, and then all of a sudden you guys turned it on, it seemed. Did you kind of feel everything swing in that moment, or what happened there?
Yeah, they made a great play with the block kick, 10-point swing, and then they end up scoring that possession. So it goes up. So we go from being potentially 10-0 to 7-7, and obviously with the batted ball to interception, they had a momentum, but never in doubt. Wasn't phased. We've been there before. Got some great stops ourselves and takeaways, and was able to make some shape.
We're still waiting for the next holding call, but you did get the 14th sack. What does that mean to you to be able to get a career high this year? It's a team game, I know, but at the same time, that's probably something that means a lot.
Yeah, I prided on myself on beating 13, and it just means I'm just getting better and better. I think this year I improved in almost every aspect of my game. Really committed to getting better and coming into better shape and just everything overall. So really happy where I'm at right now, but I'll be really excited if I get to where we're going to.
Micah, you're going to make your third trip to the playoffs. How does this team feel differently where it's at than the last two?
I would say we're about the same. We still feel really confident going against the best. It's just all about execution and just being the best on that Sunday.
Micah, obviously you keep tabs around the league. Just what do you look at with Green Bay and what that's going to present for you guys?
They create a great deal, obviously, with their elite run game and, Jordan Love, the way he's come on towards the end of the game, big fan of him, good friend of mine. So, it's going to be a really exciting matchup, great matchup. And, Cowboys, Packers, it don't get better than that.
Micah, you always talk about you want to be great. So the next month you feel like this is where I have to show because these games are really heavy.
Yeah, everyone, I think, like I said, regular season's cute. People was like, he played great for a while, but, this is legacy. It's always, the term of be phenomenal, be forgotten. So the way Jimmy and Mike, the way people show them love, that's where I think, and Charles, I think that's where me, CeeDee, Dak all want to be into that legacy and earn our way into that type of Cowboys Hall of Fame.
How does Charles kind of push you guys? Because he could be a little rough on the edges. How much does he push you guys to remind you, this is where you step up, this is where I stepped up to help teams?
Yeah, push, yeah, that's a good term for it. But, Charles is he's interesting. He always gives tips. Charles is way smarter than what people give him credit for. So, he's a great dude. Really smart dude, and just gives a lot of tips and always talks about how he's so good and we could never be on the same field as him. That's Charles.
How crucial is it?
So Micah Parsons pretty happy with the performance defensively for the Cowboys. Here is the defensive stats as a whole as they wrap up the NFC East 38-10, the final score over the Washington Commanders. He's Barry Church. We've got Nate Newton down there. I'm Kyle Youmans. Cowboys OT rolling on. How impressive has this defense been over the last few weeks?
I got to say, I'm pretty impressed with this defense when you look at what they've been able to do ramping up towards a postseason appearance. When you look at this game, we all wanted to see how they were going to be able to stop the run. That's been kind of a glaring weakness of this defense as it's gone on this year. They held Washington to 17 carries for 50 yards. I believe you can win with that. We also understand that this defense is at its best when they're taking the football away. 3 takeaways, 2 of which are interceptions, happened in the second half after the adjustments. And also, third down, you kept this team to 2 of 10. Those are the type of numbers that we've come accustomed to with this defense. And I'm sure that this defense, when they get into the postseason, if they're able to have this same type of consistency, rushing the passer, taking the football away, they're going to be a tough team to bounce out of the playoffs.
Plus, we've added Jonathan Hankins back. And one thing has been very glaring is that D-Law has been playing. He's been leading this. Lewis has been playing well, turnovers, getting fumbles, coming up from his slot position and tackling. And the biggest, sweetest of this pie is Micah Parsons in the last 4 games has been involved in the run game. Yes. And this is what I've been waiting on. If he's involved in the run game and the threat he is as a pass rusher, his defense should be okay going through the playoffs.
How do you feel like they match up against Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers, Nate?
I tell you what, don't get down. Don't get down, because if you can't run the ball, we coming at this kid. And he ain't faced this right here. None this season. Check the record. They don't bring what the East bring.
Yeah, I got to agree with Nate on this one. When you talk about a pass rush, I don't think anybody as part of the Green Bay, organization has seen a type of pass rush like the guys Cowboys have. So best of luck to Green Bay, but it's going to be a tough one when you talk about Micah Parsons and the crew coming after you.
Probably the number 1 pass rush they've seen is, looking down the list here, Detroit and Kansas City. They won both of those games, by the way. They beat Detroit 29-22, and they defeated Kansas City 27-19. That was on a primetime matchup. So they've won some big games throughout the year, but pass rush-wise, the Cowboys ranked first in pressure rate throughout the NFL as a whole. So something to keep in mind going into the wild card round. Something else to keep in mind, how will you cover CeeDee Lamb? No one's figured it out yet in the NFL. When we come back, we hear from 88 after a historic Cowboys wide receiver season. What a season it was for Cowboys wide receiver CeeDee Lamb. Not only did he break the reception and receiving yards record, but he led the NFL in receptions, first Cowboys receiver to do that. And he also had 14 touchdowns, 12 receiving, 2 on the ground. He had a fantastic campaign. Here's what he had to say as it came to an end in the regular season, moving into playoff time.
Amazing. Obviously, the job isn't finished, but definitely going to enjoy this moment. Happy to be back in the playoffs, of course, and happy to be home.
How huge is 2 home playoff games for you to finish the job?
I just feel like it gives us an edge, playing in front of our home crowd and just being able to, show out in front of our home team. So definitely an amazing feeling. Can't wait to get back to Dallas.
What was the vibe in here of taking care of business?
Everybody was locked in. We knew we couldn't really necessarily mess this up. And by that, we can't be hurting ourselves, shooting ourselves in the foot on certain plays, just going out there, drive, make routine plays, routine drives, and just be consistent.
Anybody say anything to that effect when you were down 10-7? Was there any sort of message, or do you guys just stay locked in?
Just staying locked in.
CeeDee, you say you guys are always confident, every single week, but to play that well going into the playoffs, that's got to be a good thing, right? For you guys to be playing some of your best football at this time of the year.
Absolutely. It's always, you always want to put your best film out there. And we knew that. We had to partake in that. All week it was definitely paying attention and focusing on the details, being where you need to be, and doing your job. And I feel like we did that tonight.
CeeDee, what was this last month like after losing to Buffalo the way you guys did, and where you guys kind of fell in the standings to where you guys are right now? What is this last month?
We knew what we had to do, obviously, and that's went out and let everything else, play out. And I'm happy that we definitely got the job done and able to, control our own destiny, if you will, and finish at number 2 seed.
What gives you hope that this year would be different? Just 3 straight years in the playoffs. What was the confidence level that this year at the break?
We're always confident in our team, in our ability, and we know what we put out there. Everybody in the NFL knows what kind of team we are, and we just got to go out there and show it.
Is there a different feeling, though, at all in any way, just about where you guys are at heading into the postseason?
The feelings don't matter. It's about what we can do and accomplish. So feel good right now for sure, but we know what we got to do.
How big is McCarthy been to this and changes the offense, and we go through up and down, what kind of keeps you guys steady?
We just got to stay patient throughout the situation. Understanding that at first we didn't start off on the foot that we needed, and then use the bye week as a week to self-reflect, across the hall as it's been appointed. And after that, we knew we had to make an instant change. And at that point, I feel like once we got the ball rolling, it was time to go. We knew our identity, we knew who we were going to be, and the team we wanted to be, and just had to stick to it.
Back-to-back week.
Since week 6 of the NFL season, CeeDee Lamb ranks first in the NFL in receptions, receiving yards, and receiving touchdowns. He's been almost unstoppable. It's crazy that we can even look at it and kind of joke around. He had a down day today. He only had 13 catches for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns. Man, that's just a down day for CeeDee Lamb.
On 13 targets.
Oh, that's right. He caught everything that came his way. It's unbelievable. He has turned into such a weapon for this Cowboys team. How imperative is it for this offense?
It's of the utmost importance. When you look at CeeDee Lamb, this guy's a flat-out dog. I mean, he's the definition of a playmaker when you talk about the wide receiver position. Whether it's a 50-50 jump ball in the back of the end zone or it's a 5-yard slant, this guy always has an opportunity to make plays and take the ball into the end zone. And that's what you need from your number one offensive priority, whether it's wide receiver, running back, tight end, it doesn't matter. This is your number one offensive threat priority. And Mike McCarthy has done an amazing job of making sure he gets his playmaker involved early and often throughout the entire season. And these are the type of games, you say 13 for 13, these are the type of games we expect from CeeDee Lamb going forward.
Line them up outside, line them up inside, line them up in the backfield. It doesn't matter. They are finding ways to get the ball in his hands and with high precision. Talked about today's matchup alone, okay? This is a down day for him. 13 for 13 for 98 yards. Okay, how many touchdowns? 2. Okay, that's a down day for him. And you know what it does? It puts so much attention on him that it frees up guys like Brandon Cooks. It frees up guys like Ferguson. Tony Pollard started finding his way on the ground today. So what happens is when you have somebody who is so successful at one position, especially the receiver position, the defenses have to adjust. You can't just put one guy. You can't just put 2 guys. You literally have to shift all your attention on your defense to that one player, and now other guys on your team who are fully capable can go out there and eat. And coach is doing a great job of just dishing the ball around, but it starts with getting the ball to 88.
And he's going to have a tough matchup against Green Bay next week in that secondary. We get you set for the wild card round when we come back with more Cowboys OT.
The Cowboys OT was brought to you by Sleep Number, the official sleep and wellness partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and by blockchain.com. Make your crypto play today.
38-10, the Dallas Cowboys take down the Washington Commanders, winning the NFC East for the 23rd time as a franchise, 25th overall divisional title for the Cowboys, and they are the number 2 seed in the NFC playoffs. Wrapping things up on Cowboys OT, Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, and Kyle Youmans. All right, guys, Cowboys-Packers, you've played in a couple of those. You've played in a couple of those. So has Isaiah. What does this matchup mean? And 2 of the most historic franchises in the NFL going after it.
Oh, when you talk about matchups, I mean, this matchup has all the history to it. You talk about all the playoff matchups Green Bay and Dallas has had. Mike McCarthy going against his old team out there. I mean, everything is suited up for this primetime playoff matchup, and I can't wait to watch it. You teased a little bit of it when you talked about the matchup CeeDee Lamb is going to have against Jair Alexander, one of the best corners in the National Football League. Get your popcorn ready.
Just make them one-dimensional. Take away that run game. Make sure Big Dylan and the other kid don't get any traction, and this game is going to be easy peasy, baby.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with both of these guys. I can't wait for that one-on-one matchup of Alexander versus CeeDee Lamb. But like you just said, Big Nate Dogg, if you could shut down the run of the Green Bay Packers and make them one-dimensional, Jordan Love going to need a lot of love after the game.
Now, Jordan Love, by the way, second in the NFL in passing touchdowns behind one Dak Prescott, one of just a few players to have over 30 passing touchdowns in the league this year. And he's really in his first career season as the starter, as the main guy in Green Bay. They got better and better as the year went on. So this is going to be a fun matchup, and it's not one that Dallas should overlook.
Oh, no, not at all.
By any stretch of the imagination. We will be out at AT&T Stadium. Come say hi if you are out there in Arlington. Secure your seats now because it is going to be the hottest ticket of the Dallas Cowboys and NFL wild card round. For Barry Church, Nate Newton, Isaiah Stanback, I'm Kyle Youmans saying so long from Cowboys OT. The Cowboys win it. NFC East Division champs.